All right, all right. Good morning. It is the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Happy Labor Day to everybody. Like I said, man, I was on the fence of doing this show today because it is a holiday and probably everybody could care less about Lions news today. Or maybe the diehards that do care want to hear or talk a little bit about the Lions today. So that's why we're here. We're going to give you the news as we can each and every day. But today is more of an impactful show for me because I'm going to make this a staple that as long as the Lions start after Labor Day, which they do, Labor Day is going to be my official day where I put out my final season prediction, which is going to be today. Now, I wanted to do a lot higher of a overview of the season, but it's week one already. So I'm going to save some of that stuff for each week where we talk about each team individually. But today we're going to do it. And this morning I'm joined by Eric Rittabacki as always. Good morning, Eric. How are you doing this morning?
Fantastic as always. Back to fantastic, actually.
That's good. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better today. Cold. It is cold this morning. Like it felt actually good. Like the fall 50s is what I call it. The fall 50s in the morning, man. I absolutely love it. So
walking out here, there's frost on my windshield.
Yeah, you're way up in the middle of nowhere where it gets a little colder a little quicker.
Yeah. Oh,
not down here. We just get the wet stuff.
Yeah. It's going to be turn my heat on time pretty soon.
Yeah. I think tonight's going to be bonfire night and get some things handled in the yard, man. Doing still. I told you guys it was going to be an entire summer of landscaping. I'm still installing plants and trees and everything else, but it's coming along. We're going to have some special outdoor shows during away games that we don't go to this year. And it's going to be at the bonfire outside. It's going to be fun. It's going to be unique. And I've got a little theme for one of them. It's going to be something no one else does. So we'll have some fun with it. So good morning to everybody in the chat. Who do we have with us this morning? I'm sure it'll be a light crew today, but that's okay. We've got Roger Chappis in the house, Trace, Roger Olowski. All three of them are members of the channel, and appreciate everyone for joining with us this morning. So we got Rick in the house, Daryl Bell, Joseph Ostin, Tony D, Let's Go Lions, Shane Smith, Mike the Marine, Gunny, Zachary Cleary, Salty Pork Chops. Did you have any pork chops yesterday, Salty? Or are your pork chops just salty? Yeah, I always ask you that. Do you use pepper? I'm still wondering. I don't know if you ever gave me an answer. Ronald Turner's in the house, or Ronald Turner, sorry. And Randy P. Good morning, everybody. If I missed your name, it's not by purpose. It is the Rise and Grind Morning Show. It is Labor Day, September 2nd. Already September, man. I'm ready. I am so ready for football. We'll have no more Sundays without football following this Sunday. So the first question up for grabs before we get into predictions is, can the Lions secondary gel quick enough? I saw this come out yesterday. And, that's a fair question. It is a very fair question. So what I wanted to do is, Eric, let's kind of go back and forth on this, maybe back and forth with the chat too, and kind of ask you the same questions that were asked in this article. The first question was, what does the Lions active roster still need? Now, I thought this was about secondary, but I guess we'll just follow along. We'll play along here. Is there anything else this roster still needs? And then I want you to frame it into the question of the secondary. Is there anything the secondary really still needs in your opinion?
Without seeing any of these guys yet in an actual game, I don't see anything that we need right now, other than maybe DJ Reader needs to be healthy for week one, but I don't think he's going to be ready for week one. It's probably going to be week two. And then the defense, I don't know. Without seeing them play, I don't know. So until we see them play in a game, it's up in the air. We might need another safety. We might need another corner. We might just need them to gel a little bit. That's the one thing that I worried about since the beginning of training camp is how are all these new guys on defense going to gel with each other, because we have so many new moving parts, and hopefully they got enough reps in the preseason and they're ready to go.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. You haven't seen it yet. we haven't even seen the starters really.
No.
I mean, really at all on the defensive side of the ball. So I can't say that we really need anything at this point. I would say there's wants. There's always wants. And there's a lot of Lions fans that want certain things. But quite honestly, I think our roster, top to bottom is pretty solid. And in matter of fact, I saw something else yesterday too. And I said this from the very beginning when I saw the practice squad. I said, you name one other practice squad on the NFL roster right now that's as good as the Detroit Lions. And they're not. I mean, there's not one out there that is this stacked, in my opinion. If you were to have a separate season, which I think would be kind of fun, if you were to have a separate 7-on-7 season for the practice squad, maybe they played on Saturdays or something. I think the Lions could win a championship just with a practice squad. And there was some articles that came out over the last couple of days that kind of echoed the same thing, that said that the Lions have the best practice squad, or one of the best practice squads in the entire league. And I think that speaks volumes. So to answer this question, what does the active roster still need? I don't think there's anything until we get through a couple of weeks and we see it. But as far as the entire roster, I don't think that the Lions have had a better roster than this in, decades. What was even the 2014's, practice squad as good as what it is today? Were they as deep as we are today? I don't think so. And, there was pieces on that defense. We've got multiple players on that defense. And in matter of fact, I think the Lions kind of secured that last and final linebacker spot with bringing in Trevor Nowatzki and bringing him back, because the Cardinals kind of had him playing in a role of outside linebacker, getting him cross-trained, if you will, at being versatile as a linebacker. And the Lions, they had to get him back. I mean, that's a guy they didn't want to lose. So now Derek Barnes has a backup. And I think that now you have a roster that is complete. I think that the only thing we're waiting for is what receiver is going to step up. Who's going to be that fourth guy on this first game day. I think that's about it.
Yeah. I even saw a report that they thought the Lions practice squad could beat any team in the UFL this year.
Yeah.
So, that's a pretty darn good practice squad if you could go up at versus an actual team and win, even this UFL.
We also have, 3 UDFAs that made the roster this year?
Yeah, that's crazy to me. That is crazy.
That just tells you how deep we really are, because if you're keeping UDFAs that got overlooked by all 32 NFL teams, one, that speaks volumes to what Brad Holmes is doing, right, in the scout team. Not just Brad, but the scout team. And just how good we really are if you feel that comfortable keeping. Isaiah Williams earned his spot 1,000%. But if you feel that comfortable keeping UDFAs on your roster, you have to be confident. Very, very confident. We'll get into the chat right away. So Joseph Ostin says, yep, the Lions management is pretty damn good. I agree with that, buddy. Casey says the Lions secondary is still suspect, though. Cobbled together DBs of free agents, rookies, outside a branch, safeties are suspect.
Okay.
Casey, I don't know if I could agree with that. I would say that I don't say we're suspect. I don't think it's cobbled together. I think it's intentional with what they did. But I would say this: we just don't know, right? Well, we don't know yet. We don't know how they're going to play together. I think separately, what we had seen from Amik Robertson and Ennis Rakestraw, in my opinion, if Terrion Arnold and Carlton Davis are better than Ennis Rakestraw and Amik Robertson, oh my. How good are we going to be? Because I would be ready to roll with Ennis Rakestraw and Amik Robertson week 1.
Yep.
I was that impressed with Ennis Rakestraw's ability. The first play that went to him in that first preseason game where he mirror matched, flipped, and took the guy and drove him out of bounds. And I was like, wow, that's a high level play. Good for him. Like, that's how you got to come out and show us who you are. So big ups to Ennis, man. I was concerned about his ability prior to the draft. There was a lot of crap coming out. Matter of fact, there was an article that came out that said the Lions should run away from Ennis Rakestraw. And clearly they ran towards Ennis Rakestraw, which I think was the right move so far. So the second question in this article: are you concerned that the starting secondary has not had enough time to gel, especially since Detroit is opening up against the Rams? I think my first response to this would be, tell me another defense out there that is not bringing everybody in from last year that has had time to gel. I guess that would be my question back at a question. But Eric, what do you think about this question?
Well, if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they brought in a couple of rookie cornerbacks and some free agents, and they're switching stuff all around in their backfield as well. I think they just named their starter yesterday to be opposite of Darius Slay, and they're in the same situation. They didn't have a chance in preseason to put all their guys out there to see how they gel and what they can do. So I think they're in the same boat as us, and they're playing the Packers week 1 with all their number 2 wide receivers. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Yeah, that was my little jab this morning. It's going to be really interesting to see how week 1 goes for these new secondaries for a couple of these teams. It should be exciting, but listen, I am tempering my expectations for our secondary until I see it. May come out and be gangbusters, or it might come out and we might fall flat on our face, but just give it time. Either way it comes out, just give it a little time, and we will find our center. We will find our level. Sand in the wind, it always finds a level eventually. It always levels out. So you just got to give it a little bit of time. And I think whether we come out really hot or really cold, we will eventually get to our center where we need to be, where we're supposed to be, where we're not too hot or not too cold.
I would agree with all that. Let me get all these alarms off. I don't know why they're going off again today. So, Broski Bear, I would have to disagree with you, buddy. Amik Robertson here's your statement. Amik Robertson is only 5'9". He can only cover the slot. Davis and 2 rookies on the outside. So I'm going to disagree, because Robertson played both outside and inside for the Raiders. And when I said, I was like one of the only ones that was trying to tell people that Amik is going to come in and he's going to play, slot for the Lions. I did not see him playing on the outside. Everybody disagreed with me. I don't know of anyone that really agreed with me on that, because everyone saw the work that he was doing with the Raiders on the outside, and he did play a lot of outside snaps. I saw him as an inside guy purely because of height, but you can, if there's some players you can completely disregard their measurables. And that's when you watch their play on the field. And what I saw out of Meek during the preseason shows me that this dude internally sees himself as 6'2", because that's how he played. He played like an outside corner. He has the ability, and I think he's starting to earn some respect, that he can be a shutdown corner. Best ever? No. Top 20? Absolutely not. But can he hold his own? I think so. And I think that you're going to see that he's going to be able to hold his own inside or outside, whatever he's tasked to do. He actually plays better against bigger wide receivers, and that is a proven fact. Shout out to Tony D this morning. Tony D, that might be a new name that I haven't seen before. Welcome you into the channel. $5 super chat says, with Tim Patrick on the practice squad to learn the playbook, do you think the Lions have added plays just for him, like the red zone, jump balls, etc.? I would say that with any player, and thank you for the super chat and the question, Tony. I would say for any player on this roster, offense or defense, what you have always heard from Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn is that they're going to put these players in the best position to win, and they're going to find what they do well, and then they're going to accentuate it. So just like they've done with Jared Goff, they've built a roster around the things that he does well. And that's not an indictment on Jared. That's what a smart team does. They've got the players that can do what he needs them to do, that it can hit the timing routes. So the same thing for these receivers. They're going to be in the routes that they do well. And as long as they do their job well, Jared's going to be able to hit them. So I would say yes. I would say that they're going to install some plays. I'm sure they've already had some conversations, behind the scenes to say, hey, Tim's probably saying, this is what I do really well. Where does it fit? What are the best, plays for me to learn the quickest? How can I help the team? And I think that's what you're going to see early on is these guys are going to be brought in to do what they do well and how they can help the team win. That's why they're not going to be in on every play or even half the snaps, because maybe they're not as good as they need to be just yet in this roster and this offensive scheme. Give it a few weeks, and I think that expands. We know that a couple of things have always reigned true with Jared Goff, and it's very difficult to earn the respect and the camaraderie. I mean, all that stuff, or the continuity. Sorry, not camaraderie. The continuity with Jared Goff early on if you haven't been through training camp. So I don't expect, a ton of balls to go to Robinson or Patrick, but I could be wrong. They could come in and knock it out the park and just do it better than anybody else has so far that has come in late into the season. We'll see. But again, I think appreciate your question. Fair question. I think that it's a smart question. And I think that that's the exact right way to approach it. Any comments on that, Eric?
Listen, Tim Patrick's the one I really wanted to see come here. He came here. It's not too often that happens. And I have a feeling he is going to gel with Jared Goff, no issue. Now, the smart thing is that as soon as cuts were made, they brought him in. So he has, a week and a half worth of practices to actually learn the playbook and get acclimated with Goff. So hopefully he is staying after practice with Hooker or someone, Jake Fromm, Goff, whoever, and running play after play after play and getting used to this system, learning the playbook. That's going to be the hardest thing, is just learning our playbook. That's going to be even harder than, trying to gel with Goff, just because it's going to be a completely new system for him with all new language. So it's like going from here to Japan. Okay. And sure, I have a translator app on my phone, but there's still that language barrier, and it takes time to get through that. So be prepared for Tim Patrick to take a few weeks to get up to speed. I would not expect him to get 5 catches and a touchdown in week 1. I just don't see that.
Nor do I. Look, for either of those guys, Tim Patrick or Allen Robinson, if they can come in and secure a couple of targets, push us for a first down, get 4, 5, 6 yards on a first down, I don't think that you can ask for much more than that right now. I think it's going to be highly dependent upon situation and what defense we're going up against. So don't have a ton of expectations for them at all right now. And shout out to Randy P. So Randy P says, our DBs will get burned or miss assignments at the start of the season. They'll be up against the best of the best receivers and schemes. We need to stay cool and let them learn. I 1,000% agree with you on this. We're going to have moments of what I call clarity, where these guys are going to have the oh shit moment, right? Oh God, I knew I was supposed to be there and I blew it. The question is, are they going to Jerry Jacobs the moment and continue to do it? Are they going to Cam Sutton the moment and continue to fail? Or are they going to rise above it and learn from their mistake the first time and do everything in their power not to make that mistake again? There's always that constant. These are NFL players. They are the best at what they do. So they are going to have moments where they win, and they're going to have moments where they lose. Let's just hope our Lions win a whole lot more than they lose their individuals, and I think we'll be just fine. But to echo your point, yes, our rookies are going to make some mistakes. Terrion Arnold is going to get burned, and if he doesn't, I would be very surprised. But he will get burned. and it's okay. We can't in the stadium, get all down on the guy. We just can't. We can't ruin his confidence. Just let him adjust. He has to get acclimated. The good news is the dude has been shadowing Amon-Ra St. Brown, okay, one of the best receivers in the league. He's also been shadowing Jamison Williams, one of the fastest receivers in the league, who has also upped his game big time this year with his route running ability. So if he has a really good chance at hitting the ground running and not making a ton of mistakes, I think it's to the credit of those two receivers helping him grow throughout training camp. So I'm not as concerned, but I also know, to be realistic here, I'm not expecting perfection. I'm expecting some bumps and bruises, and that's okay. None of us were perfect at our jobs when we started on day one. Besides me. No, I'm just kidding.
So you went back to episode 1 then.
Don't go to episode 1. Oh, God, it was terrible. And I had no audio equipment either, so it made it even worse. But no, I was talking about, my first real job, man, was running the family company as a manager of Goodyear stores. And yeah, I was not great in the very beginning, but after 30 days, I started beating the number one salesman for 15 years in the company and never looked back. And then totally transformed, the stores year over year over year. So it took a lot of hard work, and I expect the same thing out of Tyrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. It's just a lot of hard work, and they'll get it done. They'll be just fine. The last question I'm going to take from this article is Jahmyr Gibbs. How much should Jahmyr Gibbs touch the ball week 1 if he is available? And I have to agree with kind of where they're going in this article. David Montgomery's probably going to get the ball more often than not to start. You got to remember, Gibbs is still kind of coming back from that hammy. And I don't want to see, any issues with Gibbs that are long-term. So let's let him acclimate, get back into the swing of things, take a few hits, and see where he is. But if he's really good to go, I expect him to get installed 50-50. But if he's kind of working his way into it, which we'll never know those things. We'll never know if he's 75% or 90% or whatever. If he's good to go, you'll see him getting the ball more often than not. If they're still worried about getting him acclimated, David's probably going to touch the ball more often. So I'll just throw out this week 1 fantasy thing. If I were playing fantasy and I had both of these running backs, I would put in David Montgomery over Jahmyr Gibbs week 1. And that's the low level overview. Like, I'm not a fantasy pro. You're going to have your fantasy pro here on Thursday night, by the way. So Jared is going to join us on Thursday night. And then every Wednesday is the plan. Every Wednesday night following the first week. So everyone's rosters are pretty much set anyway. But Jared is a 16-time champion. He plays in high stakes leagues. He'll be in Vegas this week for the national draft for all the high stake leagues. And he's going to join us Thursday night and give us the overview of fantasy football. And then every week we're going to have a very specific rundown. Roll them, fold them, or wave them is the name of the show. And we're going to have very specific points and topics in there from a guy that does it at a high level. Bets thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on this stuff. He knows what he's doing. And we also have a really fun announcement for you on what he's done for us on Thursday night, but I'm not going to give it away. So Jahmyr Gibbs, should he touch the ball a lot on week 1? Where are you kind of seeing this?
It's all health dependent. If he gets in and the Lions think he's not quite ready, you're not going to see much of him. Just like in the beginning of last year where he only got a couple of touches in the first couple of games, that's what it's going to be until he can get himself back to 100%. They don't want to risk the biscuit at all with this kid. He's too important. So even if he has to sit out week 1, they will do that. It's not an all or nothing thing with Jahmyr Gibbs. So I could see him sitting week 1. I could see him playing 25% of the snaps. I could see him doing 50% of the snaps or 75% of the snaps. It all depends on his health. If he's 100% ready to go, no ill effects, nothing bothering him whatsoever. I see him actually getting more touches overall than David Montgomery.
Yeah, and the other thing that remains true with Montgomery is he's the bell cow around the end zone. So if we happen to be in a lot of red zone opportunities, which I expect us to be, I expect to see more Montgomery, probably, the last 5 yards. I expect to see more Jahmyr Gibbs, probably 10, 12 yards and out. We still like to run the ball, even when we're I guess, if you're 10, 12 yards out, the Lions still like to run the ball. They just do. That we like to play big boy football. And we don't need to pass the ball because we got 2 running backs that can get it in. Hell, you might even see Sione Ivaki get a touch from back there. We'll see. I like Tony D's acronym here, or nickname, if you will, for Isaiah Williams. He says Isaiah Williams equals Baby St. Brown. So we're going to call Isaiah Williams Baby Brown. How about that? Baby Brown. I like it. Let's get a thumbs up on that one. I like that one. What else? There was something else I saw in the chat. Let me wind it back here. I'm not going to get into the Matt and Kelly thing just yet, J-Rod. I'll probably do that on Thursday night. Who knows? I might put out a video today. We'll see. We'll see how much I feel like doing today. It's a holiday. I want to try to get some things in around the house. So, real quick, there is a bonus raffle. If you guys don't know, now you know, on the Buy Me a Coffee /Rocked On, which you see right here at the top, up here, right that way. I can't do it. Right there.
You got it.
Buy Me a Coffee /Rocked On. Every week of the NFL season, we are doing raffles to benefit the Rocked On Cancer Foundation. I first put up the Penei Sewell helmet. I think we've got over $250, $60 or something like that that's already come in for raffles on that one. I just added a bonus for this week, which is going to actually be a 2-week raffle just about. And that is an Eric Hipple, number 17, Pontiac Silverdome back seat, signed autographed certificate of authenticity. You will never find this again. This is the last one that exists in the world that is for sale, at least at this moment. So this one's not for sale. This one is for a cause. So get into Buy Me a Coffee /Rocked On. Go to the shops page, and you will find an area where you can buy raffle tickets. Raffles will always end at midnight after our games on Sunday nights, or at least every midnight Sunday night. And then the drawing will be on the Rise and Grind morning show at 9 a.m., 2 days following the end of the raffle, so that I have plenty of time to put the names into the wheel and get it rolling for you guys. So it's always done live. And of course, if you guys win, you just got to email us at mailbag@rockedon.com with your shipping address, and we will get it shipped out. Usually all things get shipped out around the 22nd of every month, so that it can all go out together. So that's it for the updates. That's it for the questions. I think I want to get into why the Lions have something more or different than what the rest of the league does. And this is not a good thing, but the Lions have the most expensive average NFL ticket in the league.
Yep.
The Lions are now the most expensive team to watch in person. How quickly that has changed from last year to this year. Last year, you could still get into a game, maybe $100. Now, you can't even sit in the nosebleeds for less than $275. I checked last night. There was a couple of content creators that I saw said that they didn't get tickets. So I was looking last night to see, okay, can I find them any tickets? Are they going to be inexpensive enough? Can we maybe throw something together, get them there? But it's a $600 adventure just to sit in the nosebleeds. And that's crazy to me. So that's what your Detroit Lions have above and beyond everybody else now, is we are the most expensive team in the league to go watch live. And so we better perform, right? And that's why today we're going to be giving you, or at least I'm going to be giving you, my final predictions with some scores. I still got to finish some of these scores as we talk about it, but let's start away with week 1. You guys ready to do it? Let's do it. So, Eric, we've gone over this many, many, many times. And I guess what I would ask of you this morning, if you could, go ahead and write this stuff down for you. Write down, what you put into the wind here. And keep a note on it and then email it to me so that we can put up our official picks. Now, what are we going to have on the line for this? Anything? Want to do any bets between us?
And what are we doing it on? I was trying to fill out your coffee thing.
Oh, so for the week, the whole season, the season predictions.
Oh, okay.
What do you want to do? You want to have any bets here? You want to talk about it? We'll talk about it afterwards.
All right.
So
I had to get in on the Eric Hipple thing. So
there you go. Appreciate you, man.
Did a big one. I like to win stuff, so.
What's that?
I like to win stuff, so I'm giving it a try.
There you go.
Yeah, put it out on my Twitter. There we go.
No, never mind. I'll let that one ride. I was going to give out a little secret here, but I'll let it ride.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you later. It's not about the raffles, it's about something else. So, Rams week 1. I want to know what you guys think in the chat. We're gonna walk through this. I think Chef did one last night where he was kind of walking through some of these based on John Macaroon. I haven't even seen his yet. I haven't really read anybody's. I try not to when I do these things. So I'm walking into this blind. I don't really care what anyone else has to say. This is just kind of what I see. But there's so many of these out there, right? Everyone is given their 2 cents from the media or the national media, local media. It doesn't matter. They're all given their. I don't want to see it. If I see it, then I get jaded, right? I start to get things into my head that maybe weren't there. So that's why it's hard to stay away from the media when I do these things. But you just can't click. But there's a couple of things that are going to help the Lions this year. And there's one thing that we have outside of the most expensive ticket that is different or better than the rest of the NFL. And that is we hardly have any games this year that are going to give us any trouble with weather. Like this season is lining up to be the most perfect season, perfect schedule, I should say, that I've ever seen. Now, you may not like the way some of these games line up and how we're traveling from this week to that week, or who's our away games versus our home games. But some of that stuff really doesn't matter when you kind of go over the splits and where Jared Goff has been and how successful he's been in certain situations. And there's one constant. When this guy plays on turf, he wins. When he plays in a dome, he wins. And this season, we have a boatload of games in that situation. So let's start with week 1. We're at home. It is an indoor game. It is on turf. And there's another thing that's a constant. Jared Goff wins the majority of his games in September, November, and January. The 2 toughest months for Jared Goff on record are October and December. There's another constant. Jared Goff wins the majority of his games on Sunday and any other game day of the week besides Monday. Monday, he has his lowest win probability. Well, guess what? We only have one Monday night game this year. So those are some of the factors. What's that?
I said, and we're going.
Yeah. So those are some of the factors that you have to look at. And when I look at his splits and I look at, how the Lions line up from last season, how they had an incredible, carryover from the season before in defensive scoring allowed, meaning they got better. And now we have this new defense that should be, top 15 at least. There's no reason in the world, and I'm going to say it right now, there's no reason in the world this Detroit Lions defense, if they stay healthy, that they average an opponent scoring points average per game of 19.5 points or less. Now, I heard when I was listening to Chef a little bit last night when I was outside working that there was a lot of low scoring games for the Lions and a lot of high scoring games, like higher scoring games for opponents. I guess there's some people that don't believe in this defense. This defense has only gotten better. So that's how I see things rolling. And that's how I'm going to be picking my games today. Adam, $1.99 super chat says San Francisco and Seattle are both Monday night games. Oh, wait, is Seattle a Monday night game? I thought Seattle is a Sunday night game. Right, Eric? We're going to that game.
Seattle's Monday night.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hold on here. How did I miss that? Did I look at the wrong calendar or something?
Oh.
September 30th, 8:15.
Yeah, it's a Monday night. Seahawks. It's the Calvin Johnson Ring of Honor game. It's a Monday night.
Yes, it is a Monday night game. I don't know how I missed that.
I don't either.
No, hey, it is what I can't be perfect, man. Can't be perfect.
And stuff for that last night.
All right, so Monday night. Here we go. I'll switch that one. Well, thankfully that doesn't really change the outcome for me. All right, here we go. Monday night, Monday night. This Sunday night, the Rams at home, indoors, on turf. It is September. It is a Sunday. What's your score? What's your prediction, Eric?
All right, so there's a couple of things that go into this. Alaric Jackson was suspended, their starting offensive lineman, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first two games of the 2024 season for the NFL's personal conduct policy. Jackson will miss the Rams' season opening games against Detroit and Arizona. So this guy started 4 years at left tackle for the University of Iowa. He's 6'7", 345 pounds. That's a big dude to be missing. Is
he a rookie? Who is this?
That's that Alaric Jackson. He's the starting left tackle for the Rams.
Okay.
And so he's out. Okay. And now it's come to the surface that their center is out. So guess who they have playing at center this week? Jonah Jackson, who hasn't played center since he did just for a quick second for the Lions, and he did in college just a little bit. So Jonah Jackson now is switching from guard into center, and I don't think that's going to help all that much. Puka Nacua is coming off an injury, and he's practicing, but he's coming off an injury. Matt Stafford is practicing, coming off an injury. So they're a little hobbled as well. Now, if you look at some of the Vegas sites like DraftKings, they have the Lions as a 3.5 point favorite, and they have the total over under at 51 points. I am going to take this, and this is what I took for my betting lines. I took the over at 51 points. I think there will be more than 51 points scored in this game. And I took the Lions on the money line. So that means for every $170 I'd bet, I would win $100. So I'm taking the Lions to win by at least 4 points in this game. So I'm going to predict that the Lions win by 6, and it's going to be 31-25.
Wow, that's crazy, dude. We have something very similar. I'll tell you here right now. So when I look at this game, now we'll do a high level overview of this in the pregame breakdown, which I'll do. Well, Thursday night is going to be fantasy, so I might do it prior to the fantasy show. Otherwise, it'll probably be Wednesday night, maybe this week, but I'll get it scheduled today. When I look at this, I started with the defense. So the Rams obviously had a big loss this year, right? Aaron Donald retires. The thing that they have going for them, though, is, who they brought in last year. Kobe Turner had an excellent rookie season, a guy that I wanted the Lions to snag last season. That they didn't, obviously. But I saw what this kid could be. Now, was he a benefit of having Aaron Donald next to him? Absolutely. So I'm not going to go deep into this because I don't want to give away all the nuggets for the pregame show. But we had concerns, right, of the Los Angeles Rams defense entering the season because of Aaron Donald. That really hasn't changed a whole lot. Right now, they are ranked as potentially the 28th defense in the league. That's huge. You're going to have some rookies, including what they brought in also Jared Verse, right? So,
yeah,
that's a big time pass rusher. They also brought in who's the other guy that we liked from Florida State? Well, I can't remember his name.
Wasn't a Lulu or whatever.
No. My goodness. It's one of the dudes we really liked. Why can't I think of his name right now? Braden Fisk.
Oh, yeah. Fisk. He was fun to...
Yeah, so they brought in 2 extremely good pass rushers / defensive tackles. We'll see how much playing time, Fisk gets or whatever, but Jared Verse is going to be a problem. He's absolutely going to be a problem. Colby Turner's going to be a problem. But not up against this number 1 offensive line that's healthy. They're not going to be a problem. So I see that, they also traded out Ernest Jones, which was crazy to me. How do you trade your number 1 off-ball linebacker away before week 1? But they did it. And they also, to your point, they're missing some things on the offense. And with Jonah Jackson having to play center, albeit in a hurry, that's not good. Jonah's already not that great of an offensive lineman, in my opinion. There's a lot of people that are going to disagree with that. But I only know what I know, and I know what I watched for the last few seasons when he was with the Lions. And that was someone that was oft injured and someone that just didn't have enough grit, in my opinion. I just don't see how, I guess he kind of fits in the LA persona, but I just don't see how he's going to help this team win at all by playing center. The Rams are struggling right now. They've got too many unanswered questions. They always start slow, but without giving away too many of the nuggets. Here's the thing that matters to me most is how they're playing, where they're playing, when they're playing, and what Jared Goff does. Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions offense starts hot. They have started hot since 2022. And not only that, but they've gotten better since 2022. Last year, one of the best offensive outputs we've seen. This year is going to be no different, to where not only have they gotten better year over year. Yeah, we still have an unanswered question at our number 2. What's J-Mo going to do? But be that as it may, I think the Lions are going to start hot. I do not see the Lions scoring less than 30 points in this game. I have the Lions winning 31 to the Rams 17. I do not see the Rams having a very successful day against our brand new Lions defense. I think the Lions defense is going to keep teams under 20 points the majority of the season, as long as we stay healthy. Lions win 31-17. That is my lock of the season right there. Like, it's just not going to get any better than that for me. We've got it. We've got to start this season off hot. We have to take the Rams down. And Eric has the Lions winning 31-25.
Yep.
All right. So that's my first win. Eric has a win. All right. Week 2, we got the Bucs at home. Go for it.
All right. You ready for this?
Sure.
So right now, Vegas has the Lions as a 6.5 point favorite. So that's basically a touchdown. And the over under is 48.5. I think this is going to be a low scoring one, but I think the scoring is going to be all done by the Lions on this one. So I am going to say that the Detroit Lions win this one 24-10.
Okay. Is that all you're sharing on that one?
Yeah, that's it for that one. We got Carlton Davis from Tampa Bay, and they've brought in a few other guys like Whitehead and a few other guys that might be able to help fix their secondary. If I could get my mouse to work here, I think it might have died on me. Oh, that's not a good thing. Yeah, my mouse is dead. Oh.
That's always fun. While you're figuring that out, that's all right. I'll move on with Tampa Bay here.
Yeah.
So again, I'm doing this based off of splits and how I see our offense starting. So last season in week 2 or week 1, the Lions did start a little bit slow in Kansas City, but you're talking Kansas City here, and you're talking an away game to start the season. The Lions figured out a way to win. This year we get to start at home. So that's why I have the Lions heavily favored in that game. But in week 2, when the Lions came home to play Seattle, they got out in a hurry and started winning and taking care of Seattle. And then it just kind of fell apart for us. The Lions, in my opinion, having 2 home games And I forgot to mention the most important factor of all this, which is the crowd. We have home field advantage in week 1 and week 2. You can't come into Ford Field anymore and expect to be able to hear. So that is going to be a big problem for the Rams and the Bucs in the first 2 games, where your Detroit Lions just did something that we haven't done in 60 years. And we get to do it again. And this year, starting against, 2 of the teams that we played in the playoffs, it is going to be a playoff atmosphere once again in week 1 and week 2 at home. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to be a playoff atmosphere in every game this season at home. So, Tampa Bay Bucs, it's a home game. It's indoors. It's on turf, of course. It is September. It is on a Sunday. And for all of those reasons, those are all the splits that really matter to Jared Goff. There's only a couple of splits that hurt him. And that is if the game is outdoors. And yes, if it's extremely cold weather games, he's kind of 50-50 in those games. But I've only seen Jared Goff win in those games since he's been a Detroit Lion. So my question would be, what changed? Why did Jared Goff's splits kind of change the last few seasons? Well, before he was practicing in LA. Now you have the benefit of going outside to practice and preparing for these games. They have Allen Park, which is an outside facility and an inside facility. And the Lions go outside and practice in the elements prior to a cold game. So they get prepared for it. He's in Michigan. He's dealing with snow now for a few years. So his body is acclimating. Matter of fact, I didn't even want to say this, but I'm going to say it. I didn't know this until Andy told me this last year, that every time I went to Florida, as a guest, on vacation, I never understood why I would sweat so much, why I always felt so overheated. Yeah, it's hot, it's sticky, but it's really no different than Michigan, the dog days of Michigan or the dog days of summer when it's really hot and sticky outside. I would attribute that kind of weather to Florida's average day. And I don't feel that way up north, but when I'm down there, it's just different. Well, Andy kind of trained me on this fact that when you move to a different state, your body acclimates. So your blood, it actually gets thinner or thicker kind of based on where you live. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, but this is what he explained to me. I kind of looked it up and it actually was true. So when you move to a different state, you're moving from LA, where you're used to the heat, your body's used to the heat, you're not used to the cold, so it's like a shock anytime you go, into the cold, just like it would be for me to go out to LA, it'd be a shock to go into the heat. So now his body's acclimated to being a cold weather guy. I think that Jared Goff's only getting better in the cold because of his situation. And he's got a really good team. And he's more prepared. So I think that those things help him. But it doesn't have to help him in week 1 or week 2 because we're at home. We have home field advantage. Lions don't even come close in this game to losing, in my opinion. I think that the Tampa Bay Bucs will probably get a couple of cheapies at the end of the game. Lions win 27-13. Yep, they win by double digits here. They win by 14 points. And Jake Bates gets an opportunity at a couple of field goals in this game just to keep the work alive. So Lions win 27-13. Eric, what was your score?
Let's see. The Bucs, mine was 24-10.
24-10.
Our first kind of two touchdown blowout game.
All right. So we're kind of in agreement here. We both picked 31 points for week 1. We got a double digit 14-point game in week 2. And no, we didn't talk about any of this prior to the game or prior to today.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we're on the road and we're heading to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this is a game that I've had circled. Would love to be at this game. Probably not going to happen. But this is a game that, in my opinion, could go one of two ways. I'm seeing where the Cardinals could potentially be the Texans of 2024 from 23. What I mean by that is the Texans had their moonshot last year. They rose from the ashes, but they also had a new quarterback that helped them do that. They've started to revamp their defense, but their offense was hitting on all cylinders. This year, the Cardinals kind of in that same boat. They've got a new receiver. Kyler Murray's, in my opinion, more ready than ever. I think that, with the additions to this offense, I think that the Cardinals are going to be a very difficult team this year in that division. Matter of fact, I could see them winning that division. I think it's going to be a tough opponent for other teams. I just don't see it happening for the Lions in week 3. And I see this kind of being like, hey, we're not starting away in Kansas City, but we're heading back out west early in the season. And here are the factors that matter the most. It's an away game. Okay, so that could be a detractor for Goff, but it really hasn't been. He's been winning some really tough games away. It's indoors, but it's a retractable roof, right? So from what I understand and what I've read, the Cardinals do not open the roof during the season, ever. It is natural grass. It is not turf, even though it is a retractable roof dome. So him on grass is the only other detractor here, but our running game is better on grass. So I love that opportunity. It is a Sunday game, so that is, another opportunity. It's also September, and all those splits are in Jared Goff and the Lions' favor. Now, the Arizona Cardinals defense, they are right now ranked bottom of the league. They lost B.J. Ojulari early into training camp. Obviously, that was a major blow for them. It takes a bad pass rushing unit and makes it an even bigger concern, which means they're not going to get much pressure on Jared Goff. And we know when Jared Goff doesn't have pressure and he's able to get the ball out in 3 seconds, if you give him 3 seconds, he will dice you up. And that's what I see happening. This could be a game that could be an air battle. It may not be, for the Cardinals, but I think the Lions could probably do a little bit of air raid offense in this game. I'm not going to give away too many nuggets, like I said, but what I'm seeing here is the Lions go in and they take care of business. This will be one of their higher scoring games of the season, 35-20. And yes, I'm giving the Cardinals 20 points. I think that Marvin Harrison might have a game, being his 3rd week, as long as he's healthy. And I think they're going to get some cheapies towards the end of the game. I think the Lions are going to get out early and score often and run away with it. And then the Cardinals will kind of, get themselves back in a little bit. But the Lions win by 15 in this game. Go for it, Eric.
All right. So Vegas has this one kind of close. It's a 4-point favorite for the Detroit Lions and the over-under at 50 points. So once again, I am going to take the over on this one. And I have it 27-24 in a barn burner for the Lions. This one's going to be closer than you think because I think the Lions are going to get a little too big for their britches, but they'll bring it on in the 4th quarter. They'll come back, they'll retake the lead and win the game right at the end with the Jake Bates nice 58-yard field goal. Okay. You have to remember the Arizona Cardinals receiver Zay Jones was suspended for the first 5 games, so they're going to be relying heavily on this rookie, and he's really good. He's out of Ohio State. His dad played in the league. But I think there was a little too much off-season drama with the kid, not wanting to talk and not wanting to go work out for certain teams and this and that. So it's going to be very interesting. But I think this game comes down to one of those, maybe we got a little too big for our britches, thinking, oh, we won the first 2 games. We're better than everybody. We're world beaters. We're going to the Super Bowl. And then this team just comes up on you out of nowhere. And they got 21 points right off the bat, and you're down a bunch. And you have to work your way back in the second half. And you get right down there at the very end. And it's all up to Jake Bates to kick a field goal for 58 yards at the very end of the game with 2 seconds left, and he nails it. That's my prediction.
Man, you're going out on a limb with that one. All right, Seattle, week 4. So I'm gonna let you start with Seattle.
All right, give me just 1 second.
And we'll be at this game. Eric and I are going to be sitting together right next to the tunnel. Eric bought me a ticket. So super shout out to Eric for sending me to this game.
Yeah. All right. Our most hated Seattle Seahawks, who seem to come to the Lions stadium every single year and beat us every single year. Well, this is our revenge game. Not only is it the Calvin Johnson Ring of Honor game, but like Will said, we're going to be sitting right at the end of the tunnel. We're going to be right there. We can high five Calvin Johnson as he comes out to do his Ring of Honor celebration, right? We're going to be right there. If they still had the flames, we'd feel the flames where our eyebrows would be singed, but now it's smoke or something that they put up.
The fog, yeah.
Fog. So the Seattle Seahawks, we are a 5.5 point favorite. The over under is at 49. I'm going to take the over on this one. And the reason I'm going to take the over on this one is because the Lions are going to score a lot of points. The Detroit Lions are going to score over 30 points for the first time this season. It's going to be 42-17. That's my prediction.
Wow. 42 points. That's incredible.
We're putting it on them because I'm so sick of losing to these bastards. They got a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. They lost a lot of their players. Listen, this team is not the team that we played last year. I'm ready for them this year. It's going to be revenge this year. Revenge.
I love it, man. I said it earlier, and I'll say it again when I do the pregame show. I was so appalled sitting in the stands last season for this game. This was not a game that we should have ever lost. If I remember correctly, the Seahawks were missing 2 offensive linemen. If anything, we should have gotten after Geno like no other. And we just couldn't win up front, couldn't win one-on-ones. And Geno just ran all over the place, and was able to deliver the football. And then the Seahawks were just dirty, like dirty. I mean, it was early in the game. There was some sort of like, I don't know if it was a fumble or a tackle or something near the goal line. And the Seahawks player tried to poke Aiden Hutchinson in the eyes on the bottom of the pile. And when I saw that, I was in the stands when I saw that on the replay. Oh, I lost it. I was trying to get that information. They didn't show it, I don't think, on the live replay at home. If you're watching it from TV, I was trying to get it to re-show it because you could clearly see where he was trying to poke him in the eyes. And it was from that point, that was very early in the first quarter. It was from that point on that I knew that this was just going to be a dirty game. And it was. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks defenders, they completely pissed in the face of Lions fans. Every chance they got. So you're damn right about one thing. This has to be a revenge tour type of game. We're coming back home. 3rd home game in four weeks. Heading into a bye week. The Lions have to play in this game. They have to come with the intent of smacking them in the mouth early. They have to. But here's what's stacked up against them, and I'm not going to give away everything, but there's going to be a transition period here for the Hawks. Anytime you have a new head coach, it takes a little bit of time, right? But you're talking 3 coaches. This is a quasi-rebuild, if you will. It usually takes, in a Mike McDonald system, half a season, whether it be Michigan or any other team that he's been a part of. It takes half a season for this team to start to put things together. And even though they have some solid, outstanding young talent with Byron Murphy, Devon Witherspoon, and Reek Woolen, I think that it's going to take the Seahawks at least 6 weeks to try to put things together. And they're just going to come in at a bad time with a top-rated defense early in the season with the Detroit Lions and an offense that is hitting the ground running, averaging 30 points a week by my score sheet. And this, again, is another home game, indoors, right, on turf, September. This is a Monday night. Make sure I got that right. It is a Monday night that, usually Jared Goff in his splits don't fare well on Monday nights. But since he's been a Lion, I think he's only won all the Monday night games since 2023. I mean, we didn't really have any games before that with Jared Goff in prime time. We might have had one in 2021. I don't remember. But I think that this is a Monday night we definitely win for sure. I don't think this is where the splits even matter. But I was close. I almost got to 40 points. Lions win 37-20. And again, I'm giving the Seahawks a little bit of credit here that the Lions are going to get up. And yep, they'll probably let off the gas pedal just a little, in the fourth quarter. And maybe the Seahawks put up 20 points in the second half. Maybe they put up 3 points in the first half. But 37-20, I have the Lions going 4-0 to start the season. What was your score? It was 42 to what?
17.
Okay, so we were close.
We put it to wax them.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be close. And sometimes you'll have scores that, maybe it's 37-34 and it's not close. Like the score doesn't dictate, how the game, really was played. But week 5, the Lions have their bye week. And this is not a traditional bye week where the Lions lose. This is a bye week where the Lions get some rest and get healthy and get ready for a very long second half, or second 2 halves really, to the season. Because this is, 3 quarters of the season follows week 5. And they start off with none other than an away game. Again, against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Eric, I know you're going to have probably a lot to say about this, but let me give you the splits. Yep. Lions are away. Now, in my opinion, this has not been a true detriment. Hold on, let me look something up right here. In Jared Goff's career, he has played 59 games at home and 58 games away. His splits are almost identical. His completion percentage was 66% at home, 63% away. 15,672 yards at home, 14,757 away. He averages 265 yards at home, 254 yards away. This is where it changes, though. He's thrown 104 to 37 interceptions, 104 TDs to 37 interceptions at home, 98.7 passer rating, to just 81 TDs to 45 interceptions away at an 88.5 passer rating. So his touchdown percentage drops quite a bit. His interception percentage comes up a little bit. He does seem to take less sacks on the road, which is good. But that's the only significance to Jared Goff's game when he's away. Some would say that his splits are concerning in these types of situations. I'm more on the fence. I mean, I don't see anything really being that bad for Jared Goff unless it's outdoors, on grass, in cold weather. I would say that would be the only type of a game that Jared Goff and his performance is a little bit more suspect, if you will. But I think that it also depends on what team you have. So here's the other split that I think that matters. This starts the October games. And Jared Goff has less of a winning percentage in October for whatever reason. Maybe some of those games were away. Now, I can't go through every single game, I mean, I could, but I'm not. And tell you definitively how many were away and is that the reason why he lost, and how many players were injured. I mean, all of those things matter. And the people that bet, they go through all that stuff. They look at all of the traditional statistics, and then they go really deep off into the finite details to get granular with wins and loss probability. I kind of do that, but not as deep for stuff like this. So I don't see this as a detriment to the Lions. It is an indoor game. It's away. That's a good thing. It's on turf. That's a good thing. It is October. That is the only split that is negative. The game's on a Sunday. Jared Goff wins a lot of Sunday games. So take it away, Eric, on the Cowboys. We beat them last year, but we didn't, apparently.
But we're going to beat them again this year, and you want to know how we're going to do it?
Yes, I do.
it's going to be quite hilarious how we do it. Okay. So Dallas is favored by 1 point. One. Okay. The over under is 48.5. I think we're going to go under. This is going to be a defensive battle. This is going to come down to the very last play of the game. And old Mike McCarthy is going to get greedy at the very end of the game. And we are going to turn the tables. We're going to flip the tide. So it's going to be 21-20 with 2 seconds to go. And they're going to try for 2 to win the game. And they're not going to get it. So 21-20, Detroit Lions win the game.
You sure about that?
Yep, I'm sure about
that. You sure about that?
Dude, if that happened, there would have to be an investigation. If that happened.
Well, I'm not saying that there's going to be any ref involvement in that play. I'm just going to say that they don't convert the 2-point conversion.
Man.
Or kicker misses the extra point. There, how about that? Their field goal kicker tries to tie the game, and he misses the extra point. The guy that can kick really far.
Who can kick really far?
The guy for Dallas. He's a really good kicker.
I can't remember who their kicker is.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
So last season, the Cowboys averaged 37.38 points per game at home. 22 pass TDs, 7 rush TDs, 4 return TDs. Total of 33 TDs at home last year. They made 21 field goals, 28 extra points. They went for it 4 times, or they had 4 2-point conversions and 1 safety. 37 round up 0.4 points per game. That was the storyline last year. You remember? Mm-hmm. The Lions are going to walk into the Cowboys and they're going to get trounced because the Cowboys play so well at home. This was a crap defense by the Lions. Like we couldn't have stopped anybody. I mean, CD completely went off on us. That's not going to happen this year. Absolutely won't happen this year. So when you look at the score from last year was 20-19. The Lions held them in check by half the points that they normally score. A little less than half.
Yep.
And you think that with a revamped defense, playing Dallas early where we could be extremely healthy walking into this game after a bye week. When DJ Reader should be healthy, definitely by this point. The defensive backs have probably learned a little bit. There is no way the Lions are leaving Dallas without a win. There is no way. What was your score?
21-20.
Okay, so you're kind of seeing the same thing from last year. Low scoring affair. I mean, that's not low scoring, but low scoring given what both of these teams could probably do. Look, the Dallas
to be similar to last year. That's all.
Yeah. No, I see the Dallas Cowboys in trouble right now. I don't think that they're going to gel as a team. Dak is more than likely going to start the season without a contract. They've only got a few days left. And CeeDee Lamb got his contract, but Dak's not going to be the quarterback of the Cowboys next year. I think that Jerry Jones is going to be smart here, and he's not going to pay a quarterback $60 million. He's going to go out and get Shedeur Sanders, probably. Or he might roll with, somebody else in the league next year that's a free agent. Maybe we trade. No, I'm not going to say it. Never mind. I won't even say it. I was going to say maybe we trade Jared Goff, but now just trying to get you guys fired up today.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Hendon Hooker.
No. Hendon's not going anywhere. So here's what I see, man. I see that, you've got the one intangible to Jared Goff splits that don't bode well. It's October. But everything else is in line here. And I think that we proved it last year. That we can win on the road just as much as we can at home. That we can play just as well on the road as we can at home. Your Detroit Lions are going to start this season 5-0. And they're going to march down to Dallas. And yeah, I don't think it's going to be a 35-point, game for the Lions. I don't think it's going to be a 30-point game for the Lions. But I don't see the Cowboys scoring more than 17 points. So 2 touchdowns and a field goal for the Cowboys. But I see the Lions putting up 27. So I'm going to roll 27-17. Your Lions win. Eric, you were 21-20. Lions win, right? So we're both 5-0.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody disagree in the chat? I mean, again, I didn't pull up this the macaroon thing that Chef did last night. I didn't really want to look at it. I mean, I kind of heard, but I can't remember everything he said. I don't know where the Lions were at this point. Does anybody know?
I don't know. I didn't see his thing.
So I just see the Cowboys having some problems. I really do. I think that team is going to be more separated because of internal things than they are together. And I don't think that they've gotten better year over year at all. So let's head up north. We go from the south, deep south, to the way north. The Lions in week 7, they take on the Minnesota Vikings away.
Yep.
Now, last season when we went into Minnesota last year, this was a much closer game than anticipated. Much closer game. This game should have never been this close. Even though we won, it should have never been this close. Again, you cannot let Justin Jefferson do Justin Jefferson things. You have to be able to double up somebody, get your hands on them. And I think that that's the biggest difference for the Lions this year. You're not going to see these number 1 wide receivers from the opponent's teams just manhandle us. And the biggest reason why is what I was just pounding my chest for all season. Get your hands on the receivers and bump them off the line at the snap. Jam them up. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen because I don't think that Cam Sutton could do it. He didn't have, the hips to flip and run. He just didn't have it. But now we have it. Carlton Davis, the guy's physical. Meek Robertson, he's physical. Terrion Arnold, he's physical. And that's going to be the biggest defining moment, I think, for this defense is where you're going to see these guys get their hands on these receivers early. Justin Jefferson is not going to do, what is he, $160 million contract this year or something crazy? I don't know what he got. But he's not going to do damage like he's done in the past. So I'll let you run with it. Go for it.
Well, this is what I got. The Lions are a 3.5-point favorite. So once again, Vegas has them as the favorite by 3.5 points. The over-under is 48. So I think there is going to be 48 points worth of scoring in this game. The score is going to be Detroit Lions 31, the Minnesota Vikings 17. For now, I don't believe in Sam Darnold. I don't believe in the Vikings. I do believe that they are going to take quite the step back this year. So I have Detroit Lions 31, Vikings 17 with a total of 48 points scored. So I'm not taking the over or the under. That is the over-under is 48 points.
All right, so I forgot to mention something on the Cowboys. So let me wind back for just a moment. I know that Cowboys fans are really happy that they're getting Trevon Diggs back. Now he tore his ACL, I believe, last season. Mm-hmm. It takes a little bit longer than 5 or 6 weeks into a season to kind of feel comfortable again. So I don't see where Trevon Diggs is really going to be much of a threat to our wide receiver group at all. Matter of fact, pick your poison. Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. I mean, pick your poison. Jahmyr Gibbs by this time is gonna be rocking and rolling. The biggest question mark for Dallas is their run defense. So I do believe that even though we have the ability to pass the ball a ton, I do see in that game versus the Cowboys where we have a pretty dynamic game on the ground that day. And that could be Jameson Williams running the ball out of the backfield. It could be Jahmyr Gibbs, David, all of them are going to eat that day, in my opinion. It's not going to be a game where we're passing the ball a ton. I think that we're going to have a lot more ground and pound so that we can truly walk out of there smacking them in the mouth. I think that that's how the Lions are going to leave that game. And they want to leave that impression to Dallas that there is no more Dallas. It is Detroit that is America's heartbeat of the NFL. True heartbeat. It's not America's team. We're the heartbeat of America. Always have been, always will be. All right, now I'll get on to the Vikings. So the Vikings have done a lot defensively this offseason. And matter of fact, I think that they've done a ton, especially in the middle of their defense. They're going to be pretty darn scary. I think that that's going to hinder guys like Sam Laporta. I think that, Amon-Ra St. Brown, could have a little trouble over the middle now that, they have some linebackers that can actually move. The defense last year, they kind of lacked a really solid corner. At times. They finished with the worst DVOA percentage in man coverage. And I don't think that's going to change much. Even though they brought in Stephon Gilmore, he's 33. And even though he still held opponents to a 55.8% percent completion rate, I don't think that's going to matter against the Lions. We have too many weapons. We have just too many weapons on offense that will allow this team to do what they want to do. And again, I don't think that Justin Jefferson is just going to go off. He might get 100, but he's not going to get 200, 180, 190, 180, or 170. He's just not. He might get 100 yards, and that's okay. That's okay for me. It's hard to corral a dynamic receiver for an entire game. But I think by now your Lions defense is just going to be clicking. They're going to be in lockstep. They're going to be a top 10 defense by week 5, headed into the bye. And they're going to come out of week 5 continuing to get better week by week. So heading back north to the Vikings, Sam Darnold, look, I can't discredit Sam Darnold and what his ability is. The guy has a cannon for an arm. He's a very smart quarterback. He's been around the league for a while. He is someone that is very capable of taking this team to the playoffs. He really is. But he's just not going to have that kind of a game against the Lions. I think that your Lions defense is going to find their way to Sam Darnold probably more than 4 times in this game. 4 sacks. I think everyone's going to get one that day, is what I'm feeling here. And I think you might even see a couple of picks. I think it's going to be a total defensive show when we go up north to take on the Vikings, because there's one thing that matters the most, and you have to take care of your divisional opponents. You have to. You can't lose those games, because that is like the most important tiebreaker after your overall score. Not that we're really going to need that, but you want to have that in your back pocket. So Lions starting this season off 6-0 is crazy to me. Yes, there's a game in here that I could see the Lions just have a bad day. And again, I'm assuming that everybody is healthy at this point. And no, I'm not trying to be a homer. I just see what I see. I see deficiencies for some of these teams. I see areas that can be accentuated on where the defense can do certain things. I think our offense, as long as we're healthy, there is not another offense in this league that is this potent. At every corner of this offense, you have a dynamic playmaker. Left tackle, even right tackle. Center, all dynamic. Quarterback is consistent as they come. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams is lightning in a bottle. Jahmyr Gibbs, the electrician. Come on. David Montgomery, the bowling ball. There is not one area of this offense that you can point at to say, yeah, we probably need to get better there. Oh, wait. Okay. 4th wide receiver. How often is a 4th wide receiver used? How often is even a 3rd wide receiver used? And then in our return game on special teams, we've got 5 or 6 guys that can return the ball back there. I just don't see where the Lions are going to lose a whole lot as long as we can stick together and stay healthy. Now, the Lions are on the road 2 weeks in a row. You know, they're coming off a bye week, so they're going to be energized, right? They're going to be feeling good. I do think the Lions get in and get out in this game. And since it's such a defensive show, your Minnesota Vikings are going to score 10. And your Detroit Lions are going to score 24. Get in, get out. I think that some of these games are a little bit closer when it comes to score, and sometimes you know a little bit more about your opponent because it's a divisional opponent. So I think that's the issue here. I don't think that we're going to put on a total clinic in offense because I think it's going to be more of a defensive game, and I think that you're going to see that for a lot of these games with the Lions this year, is that our defense is going to put us into a position where we can score more points or just milk the clock. And in this game, I definitely see where the Lions can just milk the clock and run all over the place, even though it is against a very good middle of a Vikings defense. They're still missing Danielle Hunter, and he didn't stop us before anyway. So that's where I'm at, 24-10, and then we head back home to take on the Tennessee Titans. Take it away, Eric.
Yep, and I think this is kind of we're gonna play the bully ball. So the Lions are a 7.5 point favorite. I think they cover the spread. The over is 47.5, and I think we cover that as well. I think it's going to be an over game. The Detroit Lions are going to win 35-17 at home against the Tennessee Titans.
What was your score? I'm sorry.
35-17.
Man, crushing them. So real quick, I missed the 9 o'clock hour. By the way, we do not run ads on about 99% of the shows, and that is so you guys can have a seamless time watching or listening to your content about your Detroit Lions here on the Rise and Grind Morning Sports Show. And just because I don't run ads doesn't mean I don't have sponsors. So let me get to a sponsor, please.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from UperLights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit UperLights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from UperLights.com.
All right, so real quick to Adam, he says the Lions had 3 back-to-back road games last year, and in 2 of 3 of them, we got blown out the second road game. If memory serves me correct, Adam, that was during, at least one of those losses was during the, what I call the hell schedule. We had like 4 games in like 20 days. I think we had 3 and 11. It was around Thanksgiving. We lost the Thanksgiving Day game, but that was a home game. But it was around that time where I think the Lions were kind of just under it, like we only have one area, and it's always around Thanksgiving, but at least this year it appears that the Lions, play on Thanksgiving and then they don't play again until the following Thursday. So last year we played the Sunday before that Thursday, and then I think we played the following Sunday. So we don't have as big of a break. But yeah, I think that around that time you could just have a default loss because it's a tough schedule. I still think the NFL is getting this wrong. I think that we needed to have another primetime game around that week so that you could play on a Monday and then play the following Thursday on Thanksgiving, and then either play on the following Monday again or not until the next Thursday or Sunday, and just kind of put all of your primetime games in one area. I don't know the strategy for the NFL when it comes to scheduling the primetime games, in spurts, if you will. Maybe that there's some strategy to this that helps with ratings. But at any rate, I think this is where I don't care if the Lions or if the NFL goes to 18 games, because they need another bye week. They need 2 bye weeks where every team is off, or half the division is off this time and the other half the division is off, this time. And that way everyone gets their rest in. And you can still have games every week. So the Lions get screwed, I think, because of the Thanksgiving Day game. They have every season. The schedule always sucks around that week, and it may never get fixed because it hasn't yet. So Eric had the Titans 35-17. Lions win. And for every conversation that I've had this year about the Tennessee Titans, it's that every team is going to beat the Titans, right? But they've got a pretty good defense, to be honest with you. They were pretty aggressive at improving their defense. And I feel like, they were retooling their team over the last couple of seasons, but now they went really heavy with the new defensive coordinator, Denard Wilson, who has a number 1 cornerback in L'Jarius Sneed. You pair that with a very solid starter opposite him in Chibodi Awuzie. Both guys that I thought could have been beneficial pickups for the Lions, but they were just too expensive, and they clearly didn't fit what Brad Holmes wanted to do. And then you have Roger McCreary holding down the slot. That is a very, 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 very tough cornerback room. So suddenly this Titans secondary went from a weakness to a potential strength in just a season. And then they have a pass rush led by Jeffrey Simmons, Arden Key, and Harold Landry III. This is where I see the Lions lose a game that they shouldn't. By all accounts, they should not lose this game. I think that this is going to be one of the tougher defenses that we face. If they are healthy, it will be week 8, which gives the Titans plenty of time to kind of learn their new system. And this could be a game that we drop at home, even though I don't want to see us drop a game at home. And I don't think that the Lions will lose a game at home. This is a game that does have that possibility.
Hey, Tracy just gifted 5 more memberships.
Man, Trace, you are rocking and rolling this month. I think that puts us up to close to 60 memberships now in less than 2 weeks. 60 memberships on the channel. Trace, appreciate everything that you do.
Yeah.
Now, what's crazy is the memberships are completely random, and there's a couple of names in here that have been around for a minute that got a membership. So welcome in, J.K. Rusin or J. Cruisin 71, L. Reefer, if I probably butchered that. Derek W., who's been around for a minute. Motown Mitch, who's been around for a minute. Light Engine, and then Derek Struble, I think, is a newer name. So welcome into the Lions, Loyalty Crew, right? Or Lions Faithful, sorry. Lions Faithful, level 1, to keep your membership going just after your trial here, I think, for the first 30 days. You just got to put in some information and kind of re-up your membership. So I appreciate you guys joining, and please check the community chat for all of the members only information. And then, of course, now you guys get custom emojis and priority reply and all that good stuff in the chat. So appreciate you guys sticking with us. And, of course, it's Labor Day, so I can't thank you guys enough for joining us. We got 107 viewers in right now. I did not expect to have anybody in. I expected you guys all to be hungover, camping, on the boat, fishing, doing all the things that I wish I was doing right now.
It's too cold.
But I'm doing yard work today again. So after we finish off here, we got 30 more minutes at least of this show, and we are only halfway through the schedule. Here's what I'm going to do, man. I feel like this is I don't want to say a trap game because I hate the word trap game, but this is a defense that I think can give the Lions some fits. And I hate to see the Lions lose one, but how many more games are we going to go without losing a game? And yep, we could struggle against the Cowboys. We could struggle against the Seahawks. We could struggle against the Cardinals. I don't see it happening. I just don't. And you know what? I don't see us losing to the Titans, but what I do see is I see a very defensive game. Lions win 17-14. And, yeah, the defense keeps another team under 20 points, but our offense has a very low output. It'll be the lowest output of the season.
Well, I'll tell you this, Will. The Vegas odds makers have the Lions not favored in only 3 games. Okay. And that's at Dallas by 1 point, at the Packers by 1.5 points, and at the 49ers 4.5 points. Oh, and then there's at the Texans by 1 point. So there's only 4 games where the Lions are not favored all year. And the Titans-Lions game is the largest spread for the Lions. The Lions are favored by 7.5 points.
Which game was that?
The Lions-Titans game. That's their largest favor for the whole season.
You know what I've noticed? I mean, so what I would like to do is maybe when we get a moment, Eric, let's track all of that information, screenshot it. And I'm going to put it into a spreadsheet, and let's see how close Vegas actually is, because I don't trust Vegas at all. I really don't. Matter of fact, anytime I've tried to bet based on Vegas odds, I do like all the free stuff. Yep. It's not even close. And I'm sure that's for a reason, but
yep.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tight game for the Lions. I do. But right now, I mean, the Lions haven't lost a game in my books. They're 7-0.
Yep.
And now we head to the Packers. It's our first away game. They could be in some weather. It's still early, though. It's still really early in the season. Lions and Packers November 3rd. But it's up north. Yeah, it could be cold. It could be chilly. Maybe they'll have a little bit of snow. Doubtful. Just depends on, what these hurricanes are going to do, and the El Nino and all that good stuff, where the weather's going to end up. But here's your splits. It's an away game. It's outdoors, and it's on grass. So outdoors and on grass are two things that have hindered Jared Goff in this offense in the past. It is, though, a November game, which is good. That does help the Lions. It is also another Sunday game, which is also good. But it's also the Packers. Now, we don't lose at Lambeau a whole lot over the last few seasons. Eric, I already know you're going to pick the Lions to win here because you hate the Packers so much. But go ahead. Bless us with your answer here.
All right, so this is going to be a tight one. This might be our closest game of the year.
I'm surprised you're saying that.
34-17, Lions dominate. There you go.
Why would I not expect anything less?
Yep, that's the tightest game we're going to have with the Packers all year. 34-17. It's our home game.
Oh, that's crazy. So the Packers. Let's get into their defense for just a second. So, according to Sportsnod, this isn't just a bet on the talent on the Green Bay Packers roster. There's certainly risk with the Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. We have no way of knowing how his stuff from college will translate to the NFL. Exactly. That is a very good key point, whoever mentioned that. Fortunately, though, he has an all-pro talent at cornerback with Jair Alexander. I don't know about all that. He had all-pro talent as a rookie. Impact players at edge rusher, Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark and Preston Smith. That I would agree with. Along with high upside off-ball linebacker in Quay Walker, who Quay is usually good for a 15-yarder just about every game. Most importantly, though, Green Bay now has the do-it-all safety in Xavier McKinney. That is a big up for the Packers this year. This Packers defense, though, has lacked since Nick Collins a good safety. Now, McKinney is the skeleton key, according to this report, to Hafley's defense. And he rounds out a talented roster that could culminate in one of the 10 best NFL defenses in 2024. So at this point, we are in what? Was this week 9? We are in, week 9 of the season. So we've seen everything, right? We have all the tape. I don't want to say the Lions are going to lose this game. But I guess what I'm saying here is this is going to be a game that could be a little bit too close for comfort. I think the Lions are probably extremely pissed off over the Thanksgiving Day game last year. We got thrashed. We got disrespected. Our offensive line was completely torn to shreds. And I just don't see that happening. As long as everybody stays healthy, I think that the Lions are going to bounce back in a good way here. against the Packers in the first game of the season in our divisional rival. So, look, we travel well to Lambeau. I know that this year they are trying not to sell tickets to the Detroit Lions. I hope that many fans are able to get their hands on them. I have not personally bought any tickets to the Packers yet, but this is a game that I definitely want to try to make. And what's that?
I said, who wants to go?
Right.
Ford Field West.
Exactly. This is going to be a tough one, in my opinion. I think this is going to be a closer game. No, I don't believe in Jordan Love just yet, but we'll see what he's doing the first 8 weeks of the season. And the Packers, I don't believe, have had a bye. Do they have a bye just before this week?
I'm not sure.
So, no, they do not have a bye until after this week. So after they play the Lions, it looks like they have a bye because they have a 14-day layoff between the Lions and the Bears. So the Packers are going to be coming into this game either as unhealthy as they get, banged up. The Lions are still only 3 games, past their bye, so they should be as healthy as really they're going to be. Man, can the Lions knock down the Packers again in Lambeau? Can we do it?
Want to know how they're going to do it?
Let me guess. A Jake Bates field goal?
No. First play of the game. Very first play of the game. It's going to be a bomb to JMO over the middle, just like they did to us in our house.
That'd be fun.
Revenge play.
That'd be fun. It should be mentioned, too, that the Lions have like the 11th toughest schedule in the NFL. We have a very difficult schedule.
Yep.
Very, very, very difficult schedule. I think the way that it lines up is good for the Lions to a degree, the way we travel. But can we keep pace? Can the defense keep pace? I'm going to have to roll the dice on this one. I say the Lions are going to win. Now, when we get closer to this game, obviously my pregame is going to mean a lot. Every week, the pregame means more than what I'm telling you now, in my opinion, because I really get into the nitty gritty of it all. Not just stats, but it's just kind of everything. Low scoring output in this game. Lions 21. Packers 19. Lions win.
Love it.
19 though, because they're going to have to come from behind. They're going to have to get a 2-point conversion. Twice, I think, is what's going to happen here. Or they miss an extra point and they have to kick 2 field goals early. So we'll see what happens, but Lions win, man. This is nuts. This is almost like a homer schedule, but Lions are 8-0 to start the season. Again, there's some games in here that they could drop, and that could happen in the very next week against the Texans. Take it away.
All right. This is where I have our very first stumble of the year. Lions at Texans. The over is 50 points. I'm taking the over, and the Texans are favored by 1. This is going to be a slugfest. This is going to be an offensive showdown. I have it coming down 27-24 for the Texans, and the Lions lose their very first game of the year, and only because it's at the Texans and their crowd's going to be into it.
Okay. CBS Sports put out a predictor, and they had the Lions going 12-5. They had the Packers going 11-6, both making the playoffs. They had the Bears at 8-9, the Vikings at 6-11. And when it came to the playoffs, you had in the NFC, you had the Rams at 1, the Lions at 2, the Cowboys at 3, the Falcons at 4, the Niners at 5, the Packers at 6, the Eagles at 7. I think that's way off. Way off. But they have the NFC Championship as the Lions and the Rams.
Wow.
Right. And
wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be nuts. That would absolutely be nuts.
That I can guarantee that would be the loudest stadium ever in the history of the NFL. The NFC Championship game at Ford Field against the Rams, our former quarterback. Hell yeah, let's go.
But what's nuts is then they have the Bengals over the Jets in the AFC Championship. They have the Lions over the Rams, and the Lions taking on the Bengals in the Super Bowl and losing.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that happening. You know what I see? Unfortunately, this is what I see. I see an extremely difficult Texans defense, is what I see. I don't care about the intangibles here. I don't care about the measurables. I don't care about the splits because they're all in Jared Goff's favor. But I see a Lions team that has just been riding and riding and riding. In the last two games, you're seeing lower scoring outputs, and that's because they're getting tired, and they're not going to win their second road game like they did the previous road travels, right, where they went to Cowboys and the Vikings. They're going to drop this game, but they're going to get it back in the Super Bowl. And they're going to beat the Texans in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's where I see it. But I don't think that the Texans are going to run roughshod over the Lions. I think this is going to be a tight game. I do. I think it's going to be a defensive game. And I'm going to go Lions 14, Texans 15. You're going to have a 2-point conversion that wins the game in the end. Lions can't march down and get a Jake Bates attempt. What was your score?
Oh, for the Texans, 24 Lions, 27 Texans. So they win by a field goal at the end of the game.
So we're both got the same thing going on here.
Yep.
Okay, next up is the Jags. And this is a home game. So when we look at the splits, it's home, it's indoors, it's on turf. It is a November game, which all lines up well for Jared Goff. It is a Sunday game. So Jacksonville Jaguars. I always pronounce that wrong. I can't say it right, apparently. The Jags. So where do you have the Jags?
Oh, let's see. So the Jags, I'm not sold on them this year. Not at all. And this is going to be our hangover game. So this is the game. We just lost one on the road. We're coming home. We're pissed off. Okay. Because someone else is tied with us now for the number 1 seed. We had it. Now we're tied with somebody else for the number 1 overall seed. So now we're going home. We're going to kick some butt. The over is 50 points. I'm taking the over. It's going to be 35-17. Detroit Lions. Lions are favored by 4 in this game, but I think they are going to actually come out and smash the Jags. 35-17 might be even higher than that.
I'm trying to find the Jags notes here because I found it crazy that the Jets are just getting so much love this year. And I think people are blind when it comes to the Jets. Like they are so enamored with Karen Rodgers and the story and blah, 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 blah. But the Jacksonville Jaguars have a really good defense. So what did the team do in the offseason, right? In Atlanta, the defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen, transformed one of the worst NFL defenses in his first year on the job. He'll have a lot more talent with the Jaguars. Now, Jacksonville strengthened its defensive line with Eric Armstead, who is going to make life a lot easier for Josh Allen. Plus, Nielsen's work with defensive linemen bodes well for Trayvon Walker, at least being a steady contributor. This might be a bit more of a bend, but don't break defense, but the Jaguars shouldn't be handicapped by the defense whatsoever. The question is, what are they going to do on the offense? Who's the quarterback? Remind us all who got way overpaid.
Yep.
But
Lawrence.
What happened the last time we played the Jaguars?
I they beat us in the preseason?
Yeah. Oh, I'm saying the last time we played them in the regular season.
Regular season, we beat them.
Yeah. So that was 2022, right?
Yep.
That was
the start of
James Houston's crazy sack.
Yeah, well, it was JMO's very first game.
Yeah. So we won 40-14. So how much better have they been since 2022? I would say they're a much different team. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence got way overpaid, but I don't think he's a bad quarterback at all. I think that, with weapons around him, he can actually deliver the ball. And he can run too. I mean, not that he likes to run, but he can move. I would kind of put him in the clunky category, but he's a little bit more graceful than Jared Goff. So I think the Jags are going to be a tougher team than what most are expecting. Now, this is a home game. The Lions lost to the Texans. We've never lost 2 in a row. Right? But this is a tough defense. Very, very tough defense. If the Jags are healthy and their offense is clicking, I would say that you have a potential here to lose 2 in a row. You have that potential. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The Lions don't lose at home. We're not going to lose at home this year. I think the anomaly last year of losing on Thanksgiving Day into the Seahawks is the end of that. It's just not going to happen. Lions at home. I think that this could be a higher scoring affair. What did you say the over was, or the over under on scoring?
The over under is 50.
Wow. Yeah, I think the Lions can comfortably put up 27 in this game. And I think the Jags are probably going to sit real close to 20. And, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals, however you want to shake it, the Lions win. Your score was?
My score was 35-17.
Big game. All right, let's get into the Colts.
The Indianapolis Colts. So this is at the Colts, and the Lions are still favored by 2.5. with an over-under of 48 points. I believe they might find out what they have at quarterback by the time we play them, because this is later on in the season. This is past the halfway point of the season. And I'm going to say this is not the most outrageous game, but it's going to be pretty close. I think it's going to come down to about a 6-point game. Lions are favored by 2.5. I think they score exactly 48 total points. It's going to be 27-21. Lions.
Do us all a favor real quick. So we've got a big streak going. Number one, we don't play ads. We'd love to trade our ads for your thumb and just smash that like button. If you think the Lions are going to make the playoffs, smash the like. If you think the Lions have their best shot at going to the Super Bowl, smash the like. If you think that I'm completely full of crap, smash the like. Whatever you've got to do, just smash the like. Let's get to 100. We've only got about 10 minutes to go. I think that we can get there. Absolutely. I think that we can get there. I missed your score. What was your score again?
One more time. My score was 27-21 Detroit Lions.
Brent says, I took the third option, Will. I'm not surprised.
What's the third?
All right. So again, look, the Lions have an away game here, but this is an away game that is in our favor because it's indoors. Very unique stadium that I think, I know, Eric, you liked the stadium when we were down there at the Combine. Very old school. Very, very old school.
Yep.
Definitely needs some cosmetic work there, but it is a turf game. It is a November game, which bodes well. Or is it November or is it December game?
Let's see.
No, it's a November game. It's got to be November game.
Yep, November 24th.
It is a Sunday game. So all of these little splits, right? They matter. The Colts, in my opinion, are going to have a pretty solid defense this year. And, they started to kind of make their presence known last season. They, kind of missing a few things that maybe they helped themselves out this season. They struck out on the L'Jarius Sneed trade, which, hey, it is what it is. But the Colts have a ton of confidence in improvements from a young secondary here in 2024. The Indianapolis Colts did bolster its pass rush with Laiatu Latu, according to some. I don't believe that Latu is the answer. Sorry, just don't. But they do have a front four that can consistently get to the backfield, which also makes the secondary, look better or perform better. It can go both ways, right? If you got a great secondary, your front four is going to have a better time getting to the quarterback because they're going to have a little bit more time to be able to do that. On the backside of that, if you have a really good front four, your secondary doesn't have to defend as long. They don't have to stay as sticky as long, which makes them all look like all pros. So it goes both ways. I think that the Indianapolis Colts are still going to be searching for some answers on the offensive side of the ball. The biggest question is, can Anthony Richardson stay healthy? If Anthony Richardson can stay healthy at this point in the season, he is somebody that can give the Lions fits because we've always struggled with a guy that can run the ball. And you're talking a Travis Henry with a rocket launcher for an arm. Like this guy, I mean, look, Richardson is probably one of the scariest quarterbacks in the NFL. If this guy is healthy and he's running downhill, that's a business decision because you're not going to step in the way of that. That's where, players end up losing knees because you go low. And I don't want to see that happen for anybody, but that's how it happens because you're not going to take the guy, waist up and ruin your season, by losing a shoulder, taking a concussion, neck, all the other things that can happen. You're not going to arm tackle the guy and tear a pec. Again, we've seen that quite a bit in Detroit. So this could be a tough game. If Richardson is healthy, it is an away game, but this will be Ford Field South. I mean, we're only a few hours away. Lions are going to travel well. Tickets are not that expensive. Now, they're more expensive in this game than they were last year, or they're more expensive in this game than they would have been if the Lions weren't there. But because of the Lions, these tickets are going up in price. Lions are going to win this game. They have to win this game. Lions are going to win this game. This is a game I'm on the fence about. I've always thought that we might lose a game this year that we shouldn't. I think the Texans is a game that I think it's pretty fair to say that just about anybody could lose to the Texans this year, just like anybody could lose to the Lions this year. But this Colts defense just doesn't have a good enough day. I think it's going to be a tighter game than expected. I don't remember what you said what the over-under was. Was it 48?
Let me see. Colts Lions, 48 points. Yep.
Okay. Well, this game, I'm going to go ahead and put the Lions down. I'm going to give them 18. I know it's kind of a weird score, but I see a touchdown with a 2-point and a field goal to overtake the 7-10. Yeah, we'll go 16 points for the Colts. They're going to boot 3 field goals and a touchdown. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. Lions win 18-16. Next up, Lions are on the road. We're heading to Broski Bear's house, the land of Chi-Town. What do you got?
They're coming to us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I reading my schedule wrong?
Yeah, this next one's November 28th.
I'm sorry. We're at home. We're at home.
Yes. So,
Lions are going back home. The Bears are coming to us. Sorry.
Yeah. The Detroit Lions overall record on Thanksgiving Day is 37-44-2. They have played in every Thanksgiving Day game since 1934. Okay, the last time the Lions won on Thanksgiving was 2016 versus the Minnesota Vikings winning 16-13. This is the year we get off that snide and we get back to winning on Thanksgiving and make it a tradition to win on Thanksgiving. The Lions are going to smoke the Bears 34-17. The over is 50, so I think there's going to be 51 points in this game, and the Lions are favored by 4 points by Vegas. So my take on this game is we are going to dominate the Bears on Thanksgiving. It's going to be 34-17. It won't even be close.
Well, you know what they say about opinions, right?
Everybody's got one.
Yep. And I think that Vegas, you know, that's why I said I wanted to put this down and track it, because these are all going to change.
Oh, yes. They
right. They're all going to change. Like, this is the early predictions. And depending on the healthier team, you know, depending on, you know, who's winning, who's playing hot, all these things can change. And I think that this is a game where, you know, I think the favorite could change a little bit, meaning that it's going to get bigger. The Lions are going to be favored by more. I don't see how the Lions are going to end up losing this game. We're never going to lose another Thanksgiving Day game is hopefully as long as I'm alive, which hopefully is many, 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 many more years to go. But I will say this. The fact that we lost last year in the way that we did, Lions aren't going to let that happen again. This is going to be the most watched game on that day. Caleb Williams coming to Ford Field. Maybe. He may not even be playing in that game. Could be benched. Remember when I say that? He could be benched. Tyson Bagent could be leading the charge for the Chicago Bears. Lions win 35. I don't know what you put down. I forgot already. Lions win 35-22.
Very similar. Mine was 34-17.
34-17. Love it. So that is one of the only games that I'm giving the Lions defense more than 20 points against. And that's because Tyson Bagent is the guy, man. He's just the dude. Gotta love the hair. All right, Lions are on the road to the Packers. What do you got?
Yep. All right, so Vegas has them as a 3-point favorite. This is Packet Lions. Not Lions at Packers. So this is them at us. Okay, so we get 2 home games in a row. And the Lions.
Hold on.
Yep.
This is week 14, yeah?
Let's see. Oh, you're right. You're correct.
Yeah. I hope I didn't have 2 wrong. I was way ahead in my schedule before. I was looking to the next Bears game, but
I had them backwards.
Yeah, this is week 14, so we should be away.
No, we're home.
No, I'm sorry. We should be home.
Yeah. We already played them at their place. They were favored by 1, remember?
Yeah.
This one, we are favored by 3. At home in Ford Field. The over-under is 48 points. I am taking the over on this one. I'm going to say Lions 35, Packers 21. They show up and they make it a game this time. They do a little better than they did in the first game, but they still don't beat us.
Yeah, I can see my schedule now. I had everything so small to try to put everything.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Make it big enough. Now I can see it. All right, so Packers come to Ford Field, week 14, December 5th. So this is a December game. Jared Goff, for whatever reason, does not play his best football in December. October and December, if you're going to call a loss, I would say that those are the 2 months that have hindered Jared the most. But again, I'm going to throw all that stuff out the window because this is a brand new defense. This is a brand new Detroit Lions. We are not the same old Lions. So a lot of those stats really, in my opinion, don't matter a whole lot, but we still talk about them. Lions at home, indoor game, on the turf. It's a December game. It's a Sunday game. I don't know what you put down. I don't know what the over-under is, but we are not going to lose a game to the NFC North this entire season unless we're putting in our 3rd string in week 18.
Yep.
But I think that this is going to be another close game. So for the first go-around, I had it 21-19. I think the Lions do a little bit better at home, and I'm going to go ahead and do 24-14. Lions win.
There we go. I like it.
Mm-mm-mm. Do we really have 3 home games in a row?
Yep. Bears, Packers, Bills, 3 in a row.
Okay, we got the Bills up next. What do you got?
All right, the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before I go to that, what was your score for the Packers game?
Packers was 35-21 Lions.
Okay. All right, now we're on to the Bills.
On to the Bills. So Vegas has the Lions favored by 2 points with an over-under of 50.5. I think this is going to go over. It's going to be a high-scoring affair, but the Lions are going to pull it off by just a little bit more than 2 points. It's going to be 31 Lions, 27 Bills.
31-27?
Yep.
31-27. Man, I have really screwed my schedule this year. I might have to make a change here before we finish this, but like I said, I didn't think the Lions were going to lose a game at home all year, which means you beat the Bills, the Bears, the Packers, the Jags, the Titans, the Seahawks, the Bucks, the Rams, the Vikings. It's not a bad schedule at home. Like if you look at our home schedule, and if you were to circle any of the games that could be really tough, I think it would be, the Rams, they can be. The Bucks, I think they got worse this year. I may be wrong, but the Seahawks, they've got too many unanswered questions. The Titans, that's a trap game to me. I mean, trap is I'm not saying like they're not going to prepare for them. I just feel like the Titans could surprise some people this year. The Jags could surprise some people this year. But I think when you look at the Bears, the Packers, and the Vikings, I think that the Packers are the toughest team, in the division outside of the Lions right now. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I mean, that could cause some problems for us. I just don't see the Lions losing at home. And if we did, it's not to a divisional opponent. I think if we lose at home, I think the Titans and the Jags and the Bills are the only games that I would worry about, to be honest with you. I think the ether is going to be way too high for week 1 and week 2. And then after that, I think the Lions really settle in for week 4. So anyway, here we go. Bills at home. It's a December game. The last time the Bills came, I think, was Thanksgiving. And we lost that game. We should have won that game.
Barely. James Houston had 2 sacks and 3 plays.
The Bills lost a lot on their defense, yeah?
They lost people all over the place. Diggs went to the Texans. They lost that linebacker to a broken leg.
I think Diggs going to the Texans was probably a help to the Bills.
Yeah, probably. No more whining, complaining. I wonder what he's going to be like for the Texans. If he's going to be a distraction.
So the Bills have already lost their all-pro linebacker in Matt Milano. Do they have enough depth? Probably not. Hold on here. The Bills were in consideration for a bump in the defensive rankings heading into the regular season. It says, unfortunately, injury struck Matt Milano. Losing the all-pro linebacker is devastating, especially for a team that lost depth and veteran leadership this offseason, which is kind of my thinking too. That said, Sean McDermott also coached up this unit to perform like a top 10 defense last season with Milano on IR. So they must be talking about last year. Maybe Milano's not even a question this year. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility that he does it again. So the Bills defense sticks in the 15th spot, but yet they're ranked in the 17th spot. Is Matt Milano out? I'm trying to find out here.
Isn't that the guy that broke his leg?
I guess it could be. It says the Bills linebacker Matt Milano is on injured reserve for 2024.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I've heard the Bills fans they're devastated by it.
Yeah, I think that this is a good opportunity for the Lions to continue a win streak. I really don't know how they would have even gotten better right now on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, Josh Allen is Josh Allen. But I'm going to go ahead and give the Lions the dub here, and I think we'll have another close game. We're getting towards the end of the season. I think that the Lions are going to win this one. We'll go 21-17 with the dub. You had them 31-27?
Yeah, so I'm just adding 10 points to both teams.
All right, next up, now we're on the road to the Bears.
Lions at the Bears. The Lions are favored by 1 point, Broski Bear, at whatever your stadium's called, the Coliseum, whatever it's called, outdoor piece of crapo. Okay. And the over-under is 47 points. And I'm going to take the under on this one. It's outdoors, 2 really stacked defenses. And I'm going to say that this is going to be a bloodbath, but the Lions are going to come out on top 21-3. Yeah, you heard that right. 21-3 in your house, going to smoke you, and we're going to keep it under 47 points.
21-3, huh?
Yep.
So again, I think that Tyson Bagent is probably going to have a pretty good game at home. And for that reason, I could see the Lions having a very difficult day in Chicago. It's going to be outdoors, right? It's an away game. It's on grass. It's in December, which all stacks against Jared Goff, according to these naysayers. And that's why the Lions are going to turn to Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And yes, you might even see Sione Vaki get some time. And yes, you might even see Jamison Williams doing some end arounds. I think the Lions come into Chicago and they put down 200 yards on the ground. They completely take the ball, play bully ball. They take it away from the Bears.
Exactly.
They don't allow them to get the ball at all. And they keep Tyson Bagent on the bench, even though he's starting, for the majority of the game. The Lions control 60% of the clock in this game. They only need 3 scores to do it, so they score 21 to the Bears 7. Lions win.
Oh, we're so close. I don't even give them a touchdown though. I let them just get a field goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll still get a TD.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, I think it's bully ball. I do. It's late in the season, right? It's a winter game, and I think that's how you have to approach it. Now, in week 17, it's the exact opposite. You're going to be going from, what could be a snowstorm in Chicago to bright and sunny skies in Santa Clara, heading back out west to the 49ers.
Yeah. You ready for this?
I don't know, man.
At this point, the Lions are 14-1, and guess what happened? We locked up the number 1 seed, and guess what else we did against the Bears? We won the NFC North again for the second year in a row. So my Lions are going to rest some starters against the 49ers. We're going to play them, but, we're not too worried about this game. We don't need this game. So I have a feeling this is the second game that we drop for the year. Okay. The Lions are an underdog by 4.5 points. The over-under on this game is 49.5. But I have this one 37-35 for the 49ers.
37-35 49ers?
Yep. This is the one that's going to be kind of a bummer game for me because I'm supposed to be going out to this game. And that's okay. The sunshine will make me feel better for a week. I think I'm going to spend New Year's Eve out in California, and a little sunshine will make me feel better. Get me over that second loss of the year.
So, I mean, if my schedule goes as planned here, the way that I have this laid out, which is 1 loss kind of smack dab in the middle so far, unless I make a change, but, smack dab or 1 loss smack dab in the middle of this season, the Lions would be 13-1 headed into this game. No.
14-1.
Hold on. 14-1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 14-1, which would not only give us the 1 seed, it's already given us the NFC North. And for that reason, I think you could see us go in and rest players.
Yep.
And that's the only way we lose this game is because we go in and Hendon Hooker's starting the game. If it were to go this way, Hendon Hooker would be starting this game.
Yep.
There would be no reason to put Jared Goff out there. There'd be no reason to put anybody but Sione Vaki out there. There'd be no reason to put anybody but, Khalif Raymond and Tim Patrick and Allen Robinson, whoever's on the practice squad, you're getting a shot. Hell, Giovanni Manu's probably starting a left tackle. So yeah, we could look silly in this game. Can the Lions run the table, go 14-1, lock it up, and do what Dan Campbell doesn't do, which is rest players? Anything's possible. Anything's possible. I hope that it goes this way. I'm really trying not to be a homer. But I'm gonna roll the dice there, because even if I give the Lions one more loss, which I'm about to do, that still puts us at 13-2, which could still give us the 1 seed. And it definitely would give us the North. I think 13 wins the North. I think 14 wins probably wins the 1 seed, but you might be able to get away with it with 13, depending on who you beat and who they lost to. So if you were tied, you know what I mean? If you had 13 wins apiece.
Yep.
So I think that for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and say that we drop to the Niners, and let's just say that we're resting some players in this game because we just don't need. It's either we can't get the 1 seed for whatever reason, or we've already locked it up and there's nothing else that we can do. It wouldn't make any bit of sense if it was one of those two factors to go in and play your starters. It wouldn't make any sense. And I can't imagine that we would risk injury. I mean, that's where I would hope that Dan Campbell is, not the Dan Gamble and just saying, no, we've got to keep our players in because they need to play. If you're not going to play them in preseason, why would you play them at the end before postseason if you're already in the postseason? I don't know, man. This is such a tough schedule to figure out because, one, hardly any of us ever get this stuff right. Last year, I did call us 12-5, but I had a lot of the games wrong. I think 3 of the games I had wrong.
Yeah, very similar for me last year.
So that's because one of those games always sneaks up on you. One of these teams does something they're not supposed to do. But I got us losing against the Texans because it's a road game. It's a tough game. It's tough defense. It's tough offense. So before I make my decision here on the 49ers, I'm also going to go ahead and say that the Lions lose to the Lions lose to the Cardinals.
I had that as a close one.
I think the Lions lose to the Cardinals. And I'm going to go ahead and go the Lions score 21. The Cardinals score 24. I'm going to flip that to a loss. And you had a Jake Bates field goal winning it. I have the Lions losing by a field goal. So I'm going to flip what was a nice run in the beginning to a loss. So now the Lions are 13-2.
Mm-hmm.
And they still have something to play for against the 49ers. And they walk in and they smack them in the mouth 27-21. The score looks close, but it's really not that close. Now we're going to go to week 18 versus the Vikings. We are back at home. The Lions are 14-2. They have locked up the 1 seed. They have locked up the NFC North. There is now no need to play any starters. Go for it.
All right. So I do have them at 14-2, and now I have them at 15-2. Vegas has the Lions favored by 5.5, but I think by game time, it's going to be 20.5. The Lions are starting Hendon Hooker for his 2nd game in a row. He looked amazing against the 49ers, just came up a little short at the end of the game. He missed a 2-point conversion. Like I said, I had it 35-37, Lions losing. The Lions tried to get a 2-point conversion at the end of the game to tie the game up to go to overtime, and Hendon Hooker missed Laporta on a little comeback route. Okay, so now we get to the Vikings. I think Okay, let's see. Vegas has the over-under at 47. I'm going to take the over on this one. It is going to be a high-scoring affair at the Detroit Lions. It's going to be a party. Hendon Hooker's coming out party. It's going to be 42-10 Lions over the Vikings to put us at 15-2 on the season.
What was your score again?
42-10. It's going to be our highest scoring game of the year. 42 points. And then Hooker's going to be throwing dimes.
So I'm going to in agreement here that the Lions will probably be resting some players in this game. No matter what, if the NFC North is locked up and we can't get a 1 seed, or if the NFC North is locked up and we already own the 1 seed and we can't lose it, I think that would be your reasons why the Lions won't need to do a whole lot here. I definitely don't like, having to lose to a divisional opponent. And like I've said all season, I don't see us losing at all to anybody in the NFC North this year. I think the Lions take care of business. But at 15-2, man, that really sounds a whole hell of a lot better than 14-3, especially given the fact that you've had such a great season. Why not? But I'm going to say the Lions are resting. I think that we've had a phenomenal year, and the Lions deserve a break. I would love to see him get a break before the 49ers game, and I don't care if we drop that game if we do get a break. But something kind of wants me to see the Lions need that game, and they go in and take it from them against the 49ers. Vikings, I mean, they're decimated by this point in the season. So even with Hendon Hooker in, we could win. So I'm going to go 21-22 Lions lose. And I'm only going to do that because I don't know why. Because I want my score. I want the score or the schedule to be 14-3 for my prediction on the season. That's where I need it to be. I think that is a safe place to be. I see the Lions winning 14 games. It's just going to be hard to figure out where these losses are coming from.
Yep.
But I've got one early, I got one in the middle, and I got one at the end. I don't have 2 in a row. I got the Lions winning 5 in a row twice. I got them winning 5 in a row between weeks 4 and week 9. And I've got them winning, 6 in a row? 7 in a row.
To start the season. Between
week 11 and week 17. But again, last year I had the same problem. I predicted the 12-5, but the losses screwed me up. Originally, I think I had them winning against the Cowboys, and then I changed it around the same time last year. I changed it and should have left it alone. But it is what it is. 14-3 is where I have the Lions here in 2024. You have them what? 15-2?
15-2, and you got to remember the 49ers, maybe they're not as good this year as they were the last couple of years. Maybe they fall off, and we're going to see some teams that are going to be better than we thought and some teams that are going to be way worse than we thought. And what if we get to week 18 and the Vikings are more or less looking at the number 1 seed, and if they win that game, it screws up the number 1 seed for them.
Who's looking at the number 1 seed?
That the Vikings would be.
Why would the Vikings be looking at the number 1 seed?
No, not the number 1 seed, the number 1 draft pick. I mean, so let's say the Vikings only have 3 wins on the season and they come into that last game against the Lions. They're not going to want to win that game and screw up not getting the number 1 overall draft pick.
I mean, you don't think teams actually do that, do you?
Oh, yes, they do. Yeah. Did you watch the Connor Stallions thing?
I did.
Yeah, like nobody does sign stealing either.
Yeah. The whole Connor Stallions thing stinks to high heaven.
Yeah,
especially when he watches the interview.
Yeah, but I can't believe that the NCAA let that go on for decades.
No, it wasn't. What do you mean decades?
Signs. To steal signs. They've been doing it for forever.
Well, no. So okay. So there's 2 factions to this. Sign stealing is legal.
Yes.
Okay, it is legal. So it's not that it's been going on for decades. It's been going on for decades. What was supposed to be legal.
Legally, yes.
Now, going in and recording and advanced scouting, that's the part that's not legal.
Yes.
You can't in advance scout a team in season. and you can't go and record the sidelines. So if you get the signs from in game, that's fine. If you are watching game tape, see, the reason why this isn't pliable in my opinion, that he's gotten all this information from game tape, is because game tape does not record the sidelines. The sign guys are at a very specific area on the team or on the field, and the cameras are not supposed to hit that. They do at times, but it's a quick flyby or whatever. They're not just focused on, guys doing this stuff,
Yeah, but you see him doing it quite a bit.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, and you don't know which one is the fakey, and you got 6, 7, 8 guys, throwing signs out there. So, it's just not. It doesn't make sense that you would have got it from the game tape at all.
Yeah. And then how did Michigan look the other day?
I don't know. I didn't watch.
Oh my God. Yeah, the first half was pretty hard to watch. So I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do against Texas this weekend. And I have to get my schedule set for Saturday still, but I'll find out later in an hour or so. I might go to the Michigan game this weekend. I've never been to the Big House. I've never been to a Michigan game. I'm not pro Michigan. I'm not pro Michigan State. I'm not the biggest college guy in the world. But it might be something to do on Saturday afternoon.
I wonder how much tickets are for that game.
$300.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I said. But like this week, it was $50. Next week, it's $65. I'm like, but for Texas, it's $300. So when they play the little schools, it's cheap. When they play the big schools, it's expensive.
Well, I won't talk about Michigan a whole lot, but there's one thing that always reigns true that I don't understand. How do they get 4 home games to start every season?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You don't see anybody else doing that. And they usually don't take on any big opponents early in the season. This might be the first time in the last 5 or 6 seasons that they've taken on a pretty solid opponent before week 4. So be interesting to see.
Yep.
And I know a lot of these schedules have been put out for a long time, but man, we went way over today, and I think it was worth it. I thought that this was going to be a quick hour show, that we wouldn't have anybody in, but you guys did it. You guys got us over 100 likes again.
11 days in a row.
11 days in a row, more than 11 shows. We've got over 800 views already this morning, and you guys are rocking and rolling, man. Football is back. It is officially week 1. What do the Lions have more than any other team? What really matters, in my opinion, is continuity. That is going to be the difference this year and every year. And you saw it last year. The biggest difference on this team compared to any other team in the NFL, besides, I think, the Chiefs, is continuity. The same head coach, the same GM, the same OC, the same DC, and pretty much all the same positional coaches. When you can keep all of that together, your team is going to be better just by default, because you're not changing the scheme, you're changing the language. You're installing more of a scheme, you're adding to it, you're not taking away and starting over. You're not running vanilla year 1. You're into phase 4 now of installing this offense and defense. The only thing that you're adding is new players. You're getting better players. You're getting players that have grown into the system. That is how you win. And I've been saying it for years. If the Lions would ever just get to a point of just hiring some guys and leaving them alone to do their job, wait till year 4 or 5 and see what happens. And we never, in my lifetime, have had that opportunity. Maybe it was Caldwell that I think he was here for 4 seasons.
He was here
or
for
3.5 seasons or whatever it was. Who was the other coach that was here for more than 3 seasons? Was that
Fonts?
Well, outside of Fonts.
That was it. We had Fonts, and Schwartz was here.
Yeah. So I think that's the difference. I think that's what's going to separate us from the rest.
But even when we had a coach for 4 years, like Caldwell, he had different coordinators every year.
Right. Well, same thing with Schwartz, it seemed like.
Yeah, they were always tinkering, it was always something different. They never had faith in their guy.
Well, I think there's a difference with, tinkering, as you say, making some adjustments, if you will. I think that can help your team as long as you're getting better and, guys are moving on because they're really good at what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Versus they're getting fired every 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So Jim Schwartz was here for about 5 seasons. Caldwell was here.
He got fired in his 4th season, I think.
Yeah, so he's 64 games. So that was 4 seasons. And Rod Marinelli.
Ugh.
He was.
I have my shovel.
Yeah, 3 seasons.
We're going to bury him in the dirt. Oh.
Yeah. So you'd have to go all the way back to. Even Bobby Frost was here for 3.5 seasons. But You'd have to go all the way to Wayne Fonts, who was our longest tenured coach over 10 seasons. Or I'm sorry, over 8 seasons as a Lions head coach. So it was Wayne Fonts, since I've been alive, right? He was the longest tenured head coach.
Yep.
And then outside of that, it was Jim Schwartz, number 2, Jim Caldwell, number 3. But now Dan Campbell, he's already got 51 games underneath his belt. He's 24 and 26 and 1. He's going to be plus 500 this year.
Yep.
And the last coach to do that was Jim Caldwell at plus 563. Since Gary Mueller, because he was a limited, interim coach. He doesn't count. Wayne Fonts wasn't even 500. Joe Schmidt was the last coach to coach for 500. They coached more than 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So anyway, another great show. Lions are opening up this week against the Los Angeles Rams at home. I will be there. So the post-game show will be probably 90 minutes after the game from the hotel. And this week we got a packed lineup for you. So Thursday night, join us live. We should be going on right around 7:30-ish. Assuming we have good audio and video and internet. Jared is going to be joining us, 16-time FFS champion in the fantasy football realm. He's going to be giving us some high-level overviews of high stakes, low stakes, all stakes fantasy football. It's going to be fun, man. Fold them, hold them, wave them.
Oh,
what's that?
Hey, before we go, I have to remind everyone that is in our member fantasy football league. Tonight at 8:15 is our draft. Don't forget, we draft at 8:15. The draft order should be set right before it. Everything will go right as planned. Just hit the ESPN app, get in the waiting room. You can get in there up to an hour before the draft, and we can talk in there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a snake draft, goes back and forth. So if you draft first in this round, you draft last in the next round. So the order flip-flops, and these drafts are a lot of fun. We're going to have some really cool prizes. Will got an awesome trophy for the winner, the overall winner, and I'll laser engrave it, put your name on it and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be fantastic, and I cannot wait to draft tonight. See you guys there.
So rest of the show lineup for this week, some things are already scheduled, but just pay attention to the upcoming live. Of course, Rise and Grind morning show should be on every single morning, but then pay attention to the upcoming live shows because that's where you're going to find the information. And a huge shout out to all the supporters. So everybody that has gone on to buy me a coffee /rocked on. They finally put this new thing in there called goals, and it's new. We have raised more than what this goal says. But I started the goal last week when I put the Penei Sewell helmet raffle up. And so far, out of the $50,000 goal that we have for this year, we've already raised $320 in less than a week. But that number is probably closer to 4,000 or 5,000, to be honest with you. we've raised quite a bit through some raffles and some other things that we've already done, and money that we've already given away to cancer survivors or people battling. So go to buymeacoffee.com/rocked on. You'll find the Eric Hipple seat bench or seat back autographed COA. And every week there's going to be a new item up for raffle. There could be 2 or 3 items up, but every week there's going to be a new item, and it's only a 1-week raffle for some items. And you get in, you get out, and then Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. we're going to do the drawing. And I got to say, man, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to meet and know and communicate with a lot of you from the audience. This members only chat is completely off the hook. It's fun. It's energetic. But now doing the real work, helping others. That's what I'm all about. That's what this channel is all about. Detroit Lions, helping others. It's community. Detroit Lions has the best fan base and community out there, hands down. And you guys are awesome. So all the work is because of you. And I appreciate you. So thank you. That's it for today. Any final word?
If anybody has any questions today about the draft or anything like that, hit me up on the Voxer chat. Great show today. And thank you guys so much. And we'll be talking some fantasy football later this week. Can't wait.
Lions 14-3. Lions and Texans in the Super Bowl. That's my pick. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good day. Where's it at? There it is.
Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future.
All grits.
Evolution. This is the future.
All grits.
Evolution.